Yeah, I'd avoid me. Yeah, I think so. It's funny. They all come from different circumstances. The Castaway came about because I read a story about these planes that flew at night across the Pacific, and they were loaded with nothing but packages. And I thought, man, what happened if one of those went down? Geez, it'd be a bad day for FedEx, man. They lose about 900,000 packages, man. They get a lot of complaints. There's no route and I don't like, hey, 3 years have gone by. It's time for me to make an airplane crash movie. I don't quite go that far, but there. I guess one of these days I'll make a movie about a guy who just successfully flies from LaGuardia to Charlotte, and the movie will take about an hour and a half, and it'll be very dull and uninviting, but maybe they'll show a movie while you're watching the movie, if that makes sense. That'd be a surreal experience.
I just want to add that I just rode on a plane with Tom, and I wasn't worried at all.
Voilà, juste ici devant cette jeune femme blonde. Et après la dame en rose. Hi. This question for Sully, obviously, because we see you struggling in the movie. I don't know how real it is. We see you struggling with a certain kind of stardom, but we also see you struggling with the fact that your peers just doubted your experience and the forced landing. How traumatic was that? How did you get through that? And how traumatic is it to see it back on screen?
Donc la question, encore une fois, pour Sully, en fait, on voit dans le film les gens en fait, les problèmes qu'il a eu après le film Les rêves, des cauchemars et tout, ainsi que ses collègues qui avaient des doutes sur ce qu'il avait fait. Est-ce que c'était vraiment ce qu'il fallait faire à ce moment-là? Donc la question c'était, est-ce que c'était difficile justement de revoir ça encore une fois à l'écran, et est-ce que c'était proche de la réalité?
In the first few days, Jeff Skiles and I were relying on our memories of the event, this very sudden, traumatic event, to decide if we, in fact, had remembered it, had understood this emergency correctly, if at every point we had made the decisions that led to the best outcome. But until the investigation was complete, and the investigation is a very necessary, a very worthwhile, a very valuable experience, because we have to learn from everything in aviation to know what went right, what went wrong, and make important safety improvement recommendations going forward. But until all the data had been analyzed, until everyone had been interviewed, until all the findings were complete, and that took about 15 months, we couldn't relax. Our professional reputations were still very much at stake. And not only were we concerned about what the investigators would ultimately decide, as a party system where the NTSB does not have either the staff or all the subject matter expertise to do all the investigatory work themselves, they have to rely upon others to assist them in the investigation. The aircraft manufacturer, in this case Airbus, the FAA, the pilots union, and others. Each party having their own concerns, their own agenda. And quite frankly, had it been in their best interest to push us under the bus, they would have done so. And then the NTSB board members have to vote at the end on what the probable cause will be, on what wording to put in the statement, and whose actions to blame. And in fact, they did mention my actions in the probable cause statement and the final report 15 months later. So until that process was complete, we didn't know if our professional reputations would be at risk or not. It is accurately portrayed of how we felt in those first days.
Et aussi une question un peu sur le fait qu'il était un peu une vedette suite à ces événements. And how did you live these moments of becoming a star, a celebrity?
It was not my intention to seek fame. This was thrust upon us just as this flight emergency was. But as I said, while it has been difficult to handle it sometimes and initially unsought, it's also been the source of wonderful opportunities. I mean, my family and I have had a chance to travel the world, to meet world leaders, to have a greater voice in things I've cared about, to do things and to go places we wouldn't have been able to do and see in 100 normal lifetimes.
Alors, je crois que c'était la dame ici en rose après.
Hi everybody, my name is Claire and this is for my blog and Cinema TV. I just wanted to ask you, because this movie is about heroism and doing the right thing in general, who are your real heroes in life?
C'est pour Tom?
Les trois.
Okay. Pour les trois, qui sont vos vrais héros dans la vie? Who are your real heroes in life? Aaron, start with you.
Well, Tom's one of them. And Sully. You're a good actor. For me in this movie, I'll name two, Tom and Clint. You know, they're iconic performers. They're awesome actors. They have shaped our industry. I grew up watching Clint and Tom, and to watch them work and to be around them was an honor and a privilege for me. It really, I'm like you guys, I just am a big fan of both of them, and they've done so much for this industry and so much for everybody out here and given us such great stories that, to me, they are some of our greatest heroes. And to hear Tom speak about, he's a wonderful speaker and he's inspirational. So, I'm not saying this because he's right there, but it's true. So those are two of my heroes.
Tom, how about you?
Look, the aspect of heroes where that you look and you want to emulate them. You know, you hear of them, or you see reports of them, or you read about them, and you think, well, I really do hope that if I'm ever in the same circumstances as that person is that I will have the strength or the wherewithal or the bravery in order to follow through on it. I think we come across brave people and heroes every day somehow. It's those people that do take the responsibility as well and do the right thing and do say, I will hold up my end of the social contract. Of late, I do work with an organization called Hidden Heroes, which is a fancy title for the families of war veterans who have come back and they're completely altered by what they've been through in the war, sometimes mostly physically, guys without limbs, guys with brain damage. And the heroes in their families are their wives and girlfriends and moms and dads who are going to be taking care of them for the rest of their days. Those are people who say, I have a job to do, I will live up to it, I didn't ask for this, but I'm on a river and it's going to take me on a long and winding course, and I'm not going to run away from these responsibilities. Those are the people who are my heroes, the folks that don't run away from their responsibilities.
And Sully, just to wrap up, do you have heroes still today, and if so, who?
Yeah, people have shoved the H word in my direction, as Thomas said, but occasionally they've asked me this question, the one I'm being asked now, and I'm very glad to answer it. Whom do I admire and respect? And all the way through my youth, I was fascinated by flight and by space flight, and so I followed very closely space exploration and all the astronauts who expanded human knowledge and went places that humans had never been before had my great respect and admiration. Of course, as a former military officer and a student of history, I've always admired those who have done all the heavy lifting for all the rest of us and done things that we either cannot or will not do for ourselves to protect our lives, protect our way of life, our nation's Medal of Honor recipients especially. And in general, the people that I think have really made a great difference in human society are those who have the special quality of having the moral courage to do the difficult, the unpopular things, to put their needs aside and do what's good for the greater good for humanity, and give us all a vision of a possible future that we could achieve if we all live according to our ideals and work together. If we do that, there's little we cannot accomplish.
Thank you so much. Chesley Sullenberger, Tom Hanks, Aaron Eckhart. Voici la fin.
Thank you.
Merci à vous. Bonne journée.